Hi, welcome back to the second video of the training series. Let's make this bigger and let's begin. Previously, I gave you a brief overview of this training course. In this video, we're going to go over the next step method. Say a student comes to you and asks you a question. For example, how do I get into my first or second choice school? This is essentially the big question that the student is constantly asking you about. No matter what the form the question takes, it's always under an umbrella of this question. That's why you're here. That's why you're their mentor. You know something they need to know in order to get where you are. But that question is too big. It's too large to tackle. You can't answer that question without context or an understanding of the actual student. Therefore, we must reduce our endeavors into manageable pieces in order to make the big picture a good-looking picture. Let's zoom in a little bit. In order for a student to get into his or her first choice school, whether it be UC Berkeley, Wellesley, or Harvard, a key component is the SAT. Let's dissect a more manageable question. How do I raise my SAT score? From here, you can reduce the question into smaller components by asking more questions. Let's take a look at some examples. All right, let's reduce me and go to Word. What is a student's verbal score? What was the math score? What was the writing component score? What types of questions, as highlighted in the score report sent to you by ETS, are the strengths and weaknesses of the student? Was timing a factor? How did the student feel during the test? What were his or her previous scores? Are they consistent or are they dramatically different? Etc., etc., etc. By using the Socratic method of constantly asking questions and actively listening, you will eventually get to the root factors that afflict the student, and perhaps even a plan of action could emerge from the process. Let's watch a video real quick to see what this process actually looks like visually. All right, here we are, and this is the scale of the universe. Let's start with human. That's where we are. So just imagine this is getting bigger and bigger in scale. Let's go faster. We're at Uranus now. Do you guys like astronomy? I think it's actually very interesting. Quantum physics, and you get into time space and physics, and it's really interesting. Wow, that's a big star. Is that a star? Rigel. Okay, wow, that's a really big star. They got pretty far, but it's going pretty slowly. That's really big in scale. Observable universe. Wow. There could be more than because light can't reach us. Okay. Great. What I need you to do by using the Socratic method is to take this big thing, big giant thing. how do I get into college? And reduce it all the way back from this to, so for example, SAT. Have you made arrangements? How are you studying for it? What are your plans? What are the dates? Have you picked the location center? What are your strengths and weaknesses? Um, how do you study for it? Do you have a plan? Do you have a schedule? Verbal questions, writing. Are you practicing? Do you know words? How are you memorizing words? What programs do you use? Okay, wow. Okay, now we got to the grain of sand. Let's get back to like human. And after this process, we're gonna get back to the human, and you're gonna get to the core of who your student is and help them put that onto paper in the form of a personal statement. So let's zoom back out and finish off this video. So this is called the Socratic method, not that whole expanding and minimizing thing, but the process of questioning everything. This is a mix of reductionism and also the Socratic method, just asking questions. And active listening comes from psychology, and it's what psychotherapy. That's what you do in psychotherapy. And I was a counselor, a therapist. Anyways, I never knew it'd be useful, but it actually is. Anyways, you will eventually get to root factors, and so remember, you are like a mirror. The student is your mentee. You are there to help them on their two selves, their current self and their idealized self. Show them how you can take them from their current self to who they wish to become, just like you. Okay, so to review, the topics discussed in this video were the next step method and how to break down a problem from one giant galactic cluster to more manageable pieces by using the Socratic method. And here's some homework for you. So you're going to practice doing the next step. Think about 3 potential questions that the student might come up with. How could you use the Socratic method to answer those questions? So you're going to practice doing the Socratic method. And the example that I have here is, which school should I ED? Which is a very, very common question. First, you have to look at their overall portfolio, their GPA, SAT, TOEFL. Those are the main 3. And then you look at their transcript and you look at the courses they took, how difficult they were, AP scores, things like SAT2, like this, everything. And then you combine it with these 3 questions. Is there a particular major you are interested in? 2, so specialty majors, computer science, Carnegie Mellon, okay, uh, MIT, obviously, chemistry, Berkeley, business, NYU, USC, UCLA, math, okay. So every school has their own specialties. Is the location of the school important? This is very, very important actually. California is very different from New York, is different from Wisconsin, is different from uh, Northeast. Northeast is a bunch of the top 50 schools are all they're clustered in Northeast and California actually. Um, and is the size of the school important? Is the size of the school important? So you have small liberal arts colleges, you have large public universities, and you have everything in between. And here's a bonus one. National universities or liberal arts colleges. So there are 2 separate rankings. Generally speaking, national universities are a little bit more famous, um, bigger. Liberal arts, uh, more tight knit, and also more focused on education as opposed to like massive lectures. There, we can do a whole video on this, but generally speaking, just think of those things. Okay, so go ahead and do your 3 Socratic method questions and proceed to the next video when you're ready. See you next time.